What a beatdown we just witnessed by the Dallas Mavericks in LA. They win 123-93? Unbelievable. The only thing more unbelievable right now is Morgan's face. It's been distracting. Can you just explain to the people what's going on with your face right now? Because it is definitely challenging to kind of look at.
Okay, well, your face is challenging to look at either way, and I got a postseason peel. Some of you are going to be like, what the shit is that? I don't give a shit. Or I can just explain it so then I don't get, like what's going on with Morgan's face and all the comments. It's basically just like some shit that goes on your face, and then all your dead skin's going to be peeling off. So like in the next few days, I'll just have like skin pieces like coming up off my face, shedding like a little snake, like a snake.
Great. I can't wait.
So, yeah, I call it my postseason peel, okay? Let a girl get some good skin.
Well, the Clippers could be getting a postseason peel soon because their season is on the brink right now. One game from elimination. Morgan, we talk so much with Luka and Kyrie and the Mavs. Like, Luka and Kyrie, oh, my God, how they're so difficult to defend when you have two guys as skilled as they are offensively. But tonight's game, I feel like, is less about the Mavs offense and more about what they did defensively. Those two guys, and we've talked about before on these after these games, their defense has been incredible.
They set the tone. And when you have your star players setting this tone, everyone else is going to follow. I mean, how many guys did we see dive on the floor tonight, right?
When they're up 30.
Right. It didn't matter where it was in the game. They were still making that defensive effort. And then on top of all that, let's just start with Luka on defense.
Man.
You're watching him at times, and you're seeing him in a defensive stance.
With a bum knee.
What? I mean, it's a bum knee sometimes when he wants it to be a bum knee. And we've talked about this. Adrenaline allows him to push through it on the offensive end. Defensively, at times you see him, that's when he starts to limp. That's when he thinks about it. It's hurt. It's definitely bum knee, right? But can you find a way to mentally get through it?
And he did
because other guys on his team defensively were also setting the tone, bringing this different type of energy. And the main guy doing that was Kyrie freaking Irving. And I know a few podcasts ago, I joked about him being, the best defender in the world out there. And like some people were like, calm down. And I was like, hey, I'm kidding. But at the same time, what we've seen in this playoff series on the defensive end from Kyrie Irving has been absolutely amazing. The energy, the activity, the way that he's getting deflections, knocking the ball around, and then finding a way to turn that defense into offense.
That play he had, where it's like an 8-point game, maybe there's a little momentum shift going toward the Clippers.
Sure.
They turn the ball over. I mean, Kyrie with the steal.
Kyrie, yes.
Kyrie with the steal, the cross, behind the back with the dribble, the drive to the basket, switch to the left, and one. All of a sudden, that turns into a 3-point play, and you felt the momentum shift. Luka got going after that. But you're right. Like, those two, maybe not known for being defensive players, Luka's been a lot better this season.
Yes.
And he deserves love for that.
He does.
He's been competing. And I know he's been gotten a lot of criticism over the years for his defense. And look, hey, he's needed to get better. And you could see the intensity being there. And that's what you need. It's not like we're saying he's going to be on the all-defensive team, but can you bring the effort? He's a strong guy.
Yes.
His closeouts were good. He was playing with physicality. I love seeing that.
I think one of the funnest things that we saw from the Mavs on the defensive end is when guys would rotate a step too slow, there was still some sort of effort on a closeout. There was still some sort of effort on a contest and or just on a rotation to recover, right? Like, I couldn't believe it at times. I'm like, oh, man, the breakdown. Clippers just broke this down in the paint. Nope, you see these hands coming out of nowhere. The Mavs just did a fantastic job making life more difficult in the paint for the Clippers later on, because obviously someone like Zubac was crushing early on in this one.
But the points in the paint at the end of the night, this is a crazy stat. It was 56-46.
Okay.
Dallas by 10. Dallas was 73.7% in the paint.
Damn.
28 of 38.
Okay.
The Clippers shot 47% in the paint, 23 of 49. And that activity, the length, totally bugged the Clippers tonight. Look at what Derrick Jones Jr. did against Paul George. A couple of things that jumped out to me early. One, Paul George, early in that first quarter, wouldn't even come out to contest a Derrick Jones corner three. Missed the first, I believe, made the second, and then all of a sudden he's knocking down shots. He's feeling good. But on the other end, he was up in the Paul George. And even if he got beat, he could recover because he got that long 7-foot wingspan.
Yes.
And, I'm funneling you into Derek Lively.
Who is just obviously long, active, has the bounce.
So you have a paint that's got the 7-foot wingspan of Derrick Jones Jr. and the long arms of Derek Lively, Luka being active with his hands. Paul George has no clean looks. He was not efficient at all. And then when he's trying to kick it out, active hands. They got deflections. The points off turnovers tonight, unbelievable.
What was that?
21 points off turnovers for the Mavs. Clippers had 15 turnovers, led to 21 points for the Mavs.
Damn.
On the other end, the Mavs had just 10 turnovers that turned into 7 points for the Clippers. So 21-7 advantage. The points in the paint efficiency, the turnovers, those were crucial. But yeah, I just thought the activity, the rotation by Dallas, they just were on a string. And I think that's probably the scariest thing about this group right now is, dude, if this team is locked in defensively,
you already know what you have on the offense.
Yep.
And I know sometimes we see this team rely on Luka and ISO, rely on Kyrie. But what you've noticed, there was even a few moments I said to you when Kyrie could have had this transition 3. And he goes, I have a little bit more space, so I'm going to take it 2 more steps in, boom, gets into the paint, nice little midi, right? Like just making the smarter basketball move, taking the better shot, the higher percentage shot. And then you see, okay, I'm going to come into the paint. Clippers are going to rotate over. I mean, how many times do we see someone skip a pass and someone drive, skip a pass again, and then you'd see all the defense shift over, Lively would be open for a lob. And that alone happened far too many times. If you're the Clippers defense, you should be very disappointed in yourselves.
Yeah, they did a great job just getting in the paint, even if they weren't always scoring at the rim with like 80 points in the paint. They were efficient when they got shots in the paint. If not, they were spraying out, getting the defense rotating. One play I liked was you were talking about them relying so much on Kyrie and Luka. Well, late in the game, the Clippers throw 2 at Kyrie.
Yeah.
He finds Derek Lively. The defense, of course, is rotating, worried about Lively. Lively finds a cutting PJ Washington, cutting right to the basket. You pass it to him. PJ lobs it right back. It was just beautiful. And PJ did that twice tonight where on the short roll, it turned into a lob or turned into an assist. And I think those are the elements for the Mavs offense that could be critical.
Well, and a certain energy was flying through the basketball. And I think we talked about this before we got on here about how Jamal Crawford talked about, look, if you looked at the box score for Kyrie Irving and what he was doing on the offensive end, he finished with 14 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds. You'd be like, oh, what, 1 of 7 from 3-point land. Like, what kind of game was that for him? It was a great game from him because of the way that he got everyone else involved, was always making things happen. It felt like the energy of the ball started with Kyrie Irving and his 35 minutes out there on the floor.
And that defense, man, picking up Harden. He's not scared of Harden's bigger than him. And that's the other thing, the big topic on all the shows tomorrow, they're probably leading with Harden and Paul George. And I get it, but this is what we said about the Minnesota game the other night. I'm like, no, these guys had bad games. Like, obviously, George and Harden are capable of having a monster game like we saw in Game 4.
Yes.
Right? But tonight, a lot of this was because of what Dallas was able to do defensively, protecting the paint, using their length, playing physical. Those guys did not get clean looks. How many clean looks did Paul George get tonight? He ends up, Paul George in this game, 15 points on 4 of 13. Ooh. James Harden, 7 points on 2 of 12. He is 1 of 7 from 3. The Clippers as a team shot just under 38%.
And we were just talking about James Harden the other day being the hero of the fourth quarter, being the guy that had an unstoppable floater. And what I said to you out there when we were watching this game, I go, guys are going to have their off nights and all these things. When you are the star player, when you are getting paid that type of money to be the star player, you have to find a way to get things done at least consistently. It just can't be up, 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 and then down, down, down.
I agree.
Can you be up and then mid and then make sure that everyone else on your team is doing their jobs as well? And it just feels like you're not getting that at time consistently from guys like Paul George and James Harden.
We are pretty critical of Jason Kidd after that last game because when he went small, he put Kleba at the 5, and they were just getting shredded with Luka in foul trouble. Like, what is happening, right? Well, we didn't see that tonight. Instead, we saw Kleba at the 4 with Lively or Gafford out there, and I think that size really helped things defensively.
Yeah.
in addition to that, Kleba got so many open looks in the corner tonight. And I think you think about when you've got Kyrie and Luka out there and, the gravity that they have and what they're able to do to defenses and then the lob threat that Lively can be. And then you got someone like Kleba who's in the corner. He's going to get good looks. He's got to knock him down. He took all 7 of his shots from beyond the arc. He was 5 of 7 from downtown this game.
And he's not, obviously, you're not always going to have a shooting night like that. But at the same time,
you get those looks, you might.
And Jason Kidd put him in a better position to get those looks, to have that opportunity, to have that type of game. And yeah, I thought that adjustment alone was great. And it made a huge difference, like we've mentioned already for half of this thing about the Mavs defense. It just made the biggest impact there, having Lively be able to be active, be a rim protector, and make everyone's life difficult when they did try to enter the paint.
The other thing for me, going back to Harden and George, I just felt like Harden tonight, specifically early in the game, he wasn't looking to be aggressive. There were too many times he was allowing other guys to try to make plays out there, and he needed to be the aggressor. I don't feel like he was looking for his enough. And when they're without Kawhi Leonard, those guys have to give you something.
Something more.
I mean, way more. And I thought they really handcuffed George. And then some of the lineups that Lou put out there, I mean, when you're running lineups that have Westbrook, and we saw PJ Tucker for the first time in this series.
10 minutes tonight.
Dallas is like, we're not even guarding these guys. You could put them in the corner. It's just going to pack the paint and make life even more challenging. I expect those guys to play better than they did tonight. But, I mean, they got to figure something out. And I don't know what the answer is right now when this Dallas defense just looks like it's at a different level.
I look at the night and day difference of what we were talking about last game with this Clipper squad, offensively especially, and they were making everything. They were doing everything right. I don't understand why they went away from what they started this game with. And what they started this game with was attacking the paint and finding Zubats on a lob, finding him in the 2-man game, whatever it was. They're finding him. Sure. But now, as I ask that question, I go, oh, the Mavs defense just made better adjustments.
Also, like, you're not, and that's the reality, is you're not going to win a playoff game if Zubats is like your guy or Terrence Mann. Like, those guys at minimum have to do it. That's why tonight it's like, okay, Kyrie may not have scored a ton. Like, he had some great looks he missed, right? But when you have Derek Jones, who maybe is not known for being an offensive threat, he gives you 12. You get 12 and 7 from Lively. You got 15 from Kleba. You can live with that type of stuff. So it was just a very impressive showing. And like for the Clippers in a big game 5, like we always talk about critical game 5s are like 81% of the teams who win game 5s go on to win a series. Yeah, it lives with me because Sacramento in 2002 won game 5 against the Lakers and then lost the series in 7.
Got it.
In the conference finals.
Got it. Traumatic. Got it.
It hurts to this day. So yeah, I mean, now it goes back to Dallas for game 6.
One more thing I really want to mention, just one more side note.
Yeah.
Jamal Crawford is probably already one of my top 3 favorite NBA analysts. And in this role, not at the desk, not at pre and post game. Like he'll get some names wrong and do all those things. But when he is actually on the call, I just think he's fantastic. The way that he breaks down the game, he teaches the viewers. He teaches everyone on a different level.
Oh, I agree.
You know, when he's breaking it down, it's not just generic. It is like the hows and the whys in such a. He's talking to basketball junkies, but I also feel like casual people watching can understand as well.
Morgan, it's been the biggest thing lacking in NBA content for years is that ability, and I think Jamal does it in a way that he's not talking down to you and he's not talking over you, which can be the case sometimes when like you're just referencing random play sets. Like he breaks it down in a cool way. He's himself. You can tell he's comfortable. He loves the game. That passion comes through. I'm with you. So how are you feeling about this series now? Do you think it's all over? Are we going to get a little OKC Dallas second round series, or you still give the Clippers a chance to force a game 7? Hit the comments below, hit the thumbs up, and subscribe.
Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know.